Haile Selassie, Emperor of Ethiopia, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, conquering Lion of the tribe of Judah, elect of God. These grand titles, bestowed upon Rastafari Makoen at his coronation in 1930, reflected not only his position as leader of an ancient civilization but also the profound impact he would have on Ethiopia and the world. His 44-year reign was a complex and often contradictory mix of modernization efforts, Pan-African leadership, and authoritarian rule, leaving behind a legacy that is still debated and analyzed today. He was a figure of immense global stature, a symbol of African pride and sovereignty in a time of widespread colonialism, yet also a ruler whose domestic policies often led to hardship and dissent within his own empire. This is the story of Haile Selassie, a man whose life was a tapestry of triumphs and tragedies, a monarch who straddled the line between tradition and modernity, and a leader whose image became intertwined with the rise of Rastafarianism. A prophetic birth and a childhood shaped by power. An Ethiopian folktale recounts the story of Ras Makoen, Tefori's father, a respected governor and military leader. After playing a crucial role in the Battle of Odwa, securing Ethiopia's status as one of the few African nations never colonized, Makoen faced personal hardship with his wife's struggles with childbirth. A hermit's prophecy foretold the birth of a son who would rule Ethiopia with a firm hand, bringing greatness but ultimately leaving the country in ruins. This prophecy, whether fact or legend, serves as a poignant summary of Haile Selassie's complex life and legacy. Born into nobility, Tefori Makoen's lineage connected him to the Solomonic dynasty, a lineage tracing back to the Queen of Sheba and King Solomon, as detailed in the Kebre Negast. Despite this privileged birthright, Tefori's childhood was marked by the early loss of both parents. He was adopted by his cousin, Emperor Menelik II, growing up within the corridors of power and receiving a valuable education in political maneuvering. Despite his short stature, Tefori possessed immense charisma and ambition, qualities that would propel him to the pinnacle of Ethiopian society. A calculated ascent to the throne. By the age of 13, Tefori was appointed titular governor of Salele, and by 18, he assumed control of his late father's province of Hara. At 24, he became the most powerful man in Ethiopia, serving as imperial regent. His rise was a combination of political acumen and fortuitous circumstances. Emperor Menelik II, ailing and under pressure to name a successor, initially favored his grandson, Lij Ayasu. However, due to Ayasu's youth, Ras Tessimanedu was appointed regent, but he soon died. Ayasu, seizing the opportunity, declared himself ruler, bypassing senior members of the court. This move proved unpopular, and after Menelik's death in 1913, Ayasu's reign was marked by instability and accusations of converting to Islam. In 1916, he was deposed, and Menelik's daughter, Zuditu, was named empress, with Tefori as regent and heir. After 14 years of political maneuvering and power struggles, Tefori emerged victorious. He first forced Zuditu to crown him king in 1928, and following her sudden death 2 years later, he was crowned Emperor Haile Selassie. The rise of Rastafarianism and the paradox of a king. Unbeknownst to the newly crowned emperor, news of his coronation sparked the birth of a new religion in Jamaica. Inspired by Marcus Garvey's call for Africans to look to Africa for a black king, and fueled by biblical interpretations and social realities, Rastafarians saw Haile Selassie's coronation as the fulfillment of prophecy. They proclaimed him as God incarnate, the King of Kings, the Messiah who would lead them to Zion, the promised land of Ethiopia. This divine status, bestowed upon him by a movement far from his own kingdom, would become a defining aspect of his global image. However, the reality of life in Selassie's Ethiopia contrasted sharply with the Rastafarian vision. Despite its ancient history and Christian heritage, Ethiopia in the 1930s was a feudal society, economically and technologically underdeveloped compared to its European and Asian counterparts. Slavery persisted, social mobility was limited, and modern amenities were scarce outside of Addis Ababa. Power and wealth were concentrated in the hands of a small elite, while the majority of Ethiopians lived as peasants under the control of landowners and clergy. The Italian invasion and exile. The greatest test of faith for Rastafarians, and for Selassie himself, came in 1935 when Mussolini's Italy invaded Ethiopia. Despite Selassie's pleas to the League of Nations for intervention, the international community failed to act decisively, and he was forced into exile. This period of exile, while a personal humiliation, ironically solidified his image as a symbol of African resistance against European colonialism. His iconic speech at the League of Nations, where he condemned the world's inaction, became a powerful testament to his leadership and his commitment to his nation. Return and modernization. With the help of British forces, Selassie returned to Ethiopia in 1941 after the Italians were driven out. This return further fueled the Rastafarian belief in his divinity and cemented his status as a symbol of African resilience. He embarked on a modernization drive, focusing on education, legal reforms, and infrastructure development. He also played a prominent role in the Pan-African movement, co-founding the Organization of African Unity, OAU, and hosting its headquarters in Addis Ababa. Domestic dissent and the erosion of power. Despite his international acclaim, Selassie faced growing dissent at home. His efforts to unify Ethiopia by promoting Amhara culture and language alienated other ethnic groups. Famine in the Tigray province in 1958, coupled with accusations of government inaction, further damaged his reputation. The concentration of power and wealth in the hands of the elite and the lack of social mobility fueled resentment among the population. Selassie's modernization efforts inadvertently created a new class of educated Ethiopians who were increasingly dissatisfied with the slow pace of change and the absolute monarchy. Calls for democracy grew louder, and the 1960 coup attempt, though unsuccessful, revealed the depth of the discontent. The ongoing conflict with Eritrean separatists further strained the empire's resources and Selassie's authority. The final years an overthrow. In the 1970s, as Selassie's international stature grew, his grip on power at home weakened. His government's human rights record, economic stagnation, and suppression of dissent led to widespread unrest. The devastating famine in Wollo province in 1972 and the emperor's lavish birthday celebrations amidst the suffering proved to be the final straw. In 1974, a group of radical left-wing army officers known as the Derg seized power, ending over 3,000 years of Ethiopian dynastic rule. Selassie was placed under house arrest and died under mysterious circumstances the following year. A complex legacy. Haile Selassie's legacy is a complex and multifaceted one. He was a symbol of African pride and resistance against colonialism, a champion of Pan-Africanism, and a modernizer who sought to bring Ethiopia into the 20th century. Yet, he was also an authoritarian ruler whose policies often led to hardship and dissent, and whose resistance to democratic reforms ultimately contributed to his downfall. His image as a divine figure, bestowed upon him by the Rastafarian movement, further complicates his legacy, adding a layer of mystique and controversy. While Selassie's reign is marked by both achievements and failures, his impact on Ethiopia and Africa is undeniable. He played a crucial role in preserving Ethiopia's sovereignty, promoting Pan-African unity, and modernizing his nation. However, his resistance to change and his authoritarian rule ultimately sowed the seeds of his own demise and ushered in a period of turmoil and violence that would plague Ethiopia for decades to come. His story serves as a reminder of the complexities of leadership, the challenges of modernization, and the enduring struggle for justice and equality. It's a story that continues to be debated and analyzed, a testament to the enduring fascination with this enigmatic figure who left an indelible mark on the 20th century.